Namaste. Welcome to the Moving Mountains with Robine podcast. And this podcast will hopefully inspire you to see the world with new eyes. I would like to share with you a little bit of my journey, my path, and my truth. So therefore, I want to start off saying that this is my truth only. I'm sharing what has been beneficial to me in my life. And I hope that therefore you can see the same way that I see the world right now. And sharing this experience is really what makes me feel the most alive. So it's an invitation from me to you to go and explore, play around, and really just experiment with all the new ideas that I will be talking about in this podcast. Because more importantly, find what suits you, find what serves you, and really just flip away what doesn't. This podcast is definitely a challenge for me. I'm this kind of a perfectionist. I would record maybe 108 times and then maybe one more just to make sure that it is perfect. But I just reminded myself that who wants perfect, right? Perfect is boring. So therefore, I just decided to record only once. So here we go. I would like to invite you into this sacred room, my little holy place. There's a smell of sandalwood in the air. There's a little Ganesha statue, a few candles, some plants. See if you can visualize just being here with me in a safe space as you listen to my voice and letting my sound waves kind of float through you, guide you in a little journey within. In this podcast, I would like to talk about rituals. Because rituals has been for me the most powerful thing to transform and to get to know myself a little better. And this is actually my experience that I used to be very, very, very dedicated with doing the same rituals every day. Waking up, having my sun salutations, my yoga practice, few hours of meditation. Pretty hardcore, I would say. But then at some point, you wake up and you just want to exist. You just want to breathe and exist, okay? Nothing else. And then you don't do the practice. And then, at least in my experience, I started to feel a little bit guilty. Why I did not do it. Why I was not strong enough to keep up with my practice. And therefore I realized that we always change. It's okay to wake up and not wanting to do all the things that you have maybe been doing for years. Because we change. Not even one of our cells, even on the scientific level, is the same. It's always different. Every second is different. And since that is just the law of life, is that everything is always in a change, I truly believe that everything around you should also change. Your friendships should change. You should not keep holding on to the people that maybe don't really belong to you anymore. Not holding on to the rituals that don't belong to you anymore. And I start off telling you this little story because I really want to invite you to dive into your intuition. Because diving into my intuition and from that place, having my practice, having my rituals has been the most powerful and healing tool in my life. So I will guide you through kind of sort of my morning, but as I just introduced, it's changing a bit every morning. First of all, I like to wake up with no alarm. I wake up naturally, really early, usually with the sun, because there's just such a energetic vibration waking up with the sunset. It's just so calm and still, and nothing is really alive yet. And it really affects the mind and the body. But not everybody has, of course, the luxury to wake up without an alarm. So if you do need to set an alarm, that's absolutely fine. But maybe use beautiful sounds like river or birds or just something peaceful to wake up to. I truly, truly believe that the first seconds of your day just set the entire intention for the day, the entire vibration for the day. So the way you wake up is very, very crucial in my experience. As soon as I wake up, the first thing I like to do is put one hand on my heart and one hand on my low belly. And before moving, before doing anything, just bringing in gratitude, feeling my body, getting in touch for the beautiful mind, the beautiful soul that you are. And just giving thanks, just connecting, just giving yourself a touch. If you don't touch yourself, nobody's going to do it for you. So just get in touch with your body, even maybe a little massage yourself, hug yourself, really starting out the day with self-love. And from there, before I step my feet onto the earth, I ask the earth permission. And this is something I've been doing for the last few years, and it feels very powerful and makes me really aware of the earth underneath me and Mother Nature that is around me, just asking permission. And normally she will say yes. And if she doesn't, then you can stay in bed all day. You can call your boss and you say, hey, you know what? Mother Earth, it was a no. No, she will say yes. And then feeling your feet on the earth. If you do that to start your day, just for the whole day, you'll be a little bit more aware of the earth underneath you. And this brings you straight into your body, makes you feel safe. We are so often in our heads. So it's nice to really root down, feeling your feet. And after I get up, the first thing I like to do is to look out of my window. And maybe you don't have a fancy view, but that's fine. Just look to the clouds, to the sun, just say hi to the sky. Just makes you more aware of the big world out there. There's so much more than that little bubble that we sometimes live in. From there, I make my way to the kitchen. And on my way, there's a mirror. And I like to look into my own eyes, look into my soul, and say any affirmation that comes up. Maybe it's you're strong. Maybe it's you're beautiful. Again, starting the day out with self-love. And from there, I start to brew some water. I like to drink warm water with lemon juice and a little bit of cayenne pepper in the morning. This is just very great to start up the fire, start up the digestion in the body, heating up from the inside out. And then second, I make with my warm water a little glass with salt. I mix warm water with salt, and then I blend in a little bit of cold water. And then I start to use my Yala Neti pot. So for those that are not really known with Yala Neti, it's nostril breathing. It's something very nice that you can look up on Google. And it's basically a way from Ayurveda to clean the nostrils and helps you to open up all of your senses. I don't do it every morning, but definitely 90% of the time. It's a very, very, very cool tool to really open up for the day. And after I start to prepare myself for my meditation, which means I just sit down, comfortable. I like to sit outside. I have a little balcony, so I dress like a hobo. I put all the clothes on top of each other. I really look like I'm going on a Ryanair flight and I don't have money for my luggage. And then I sit in the Tao, I sit in the sun, and yeah, I truly, truly invite you to start your day just with silence, just sitting in the dark with yourself. And it really doesn't need to be an hour. It's better to do every day 2 minutes than one day an hour and then nothing at all for the rest of the week. So just a few minutes sitting with yourself in silence. And from there, I start moving my body. And as I mentioned, I used to have a really strong practice, really training my body for different yoga poses. But now I just move. And it feels amazing. I just move. It doesn't matter. Sometimes I'm shaking. Sometimes I'm shaking myself for 15 minutes. And this is such a healing practice. I mean, the ancient yogis, they used to do this thousands of years ago. They used to dance around the fire like wild beasts, calling in the spirits and shaking their bodies. Why? Because it heals you. It moves everything in the right alignment. And it just shakes things out. Just like the wind and the leaves. Sometimes we need to just move and shift and shake to let out all belief systems or things that don't really serve us. So after all the moving and the shaking, I like to just lay down on the floor, on the earth, breathing deep in my belly, again sinking a little deeper, feeling protected and holded by the earth underneath me. And from there, I usually jump into my shower. I like to shower ice cold at the end because it just really makes me up. Another beautiful tool to do to wake you up is to shower cold and then warm and then cold and then warm, and just switching it up makes your heart beat fast and your blood circulate all over the place. And yes, if you haven't tried it, try it. And I promise you, you will get out and you will say, wow, I am alive. After my shower, I like to make a little tea. Sometimes it's just herbs together, really following my intuition, feeling what it is that my body needs today. Could be a cup of coffee, a green tea, anything. And with my cup of tea, I like to sit down and take my journal. After meditation, after moving my body, there's just so much stuff that came up, ideas, inspiration, creativity. And I like to start my day with just free writing, just 5 minutes of writing anything that comes up in your mind. It is such a powerful tool to get to know yourself, what is going on inside of that little bubble, inside of that being that you're carrying around, because so often we're distracted and we just don't really know anymore what to do and who we are and what direction we would like to go to. So some days I do free writing. Some days I take my tarot cards and I take a little card for the day that can give me some inspiration. Some days I take a random book and I open it. Some days I just call my mom. So really tuning into that beautiful intuition of you and get to know what it is that your body needs. And if you find it difficult, or you're maybe wondering, how do I tune into my intuition? I have a few tips on that. Number 1, staying alone, being happy with being alone, get to know yourself. Number 2, trust yourself. Trust that every intuition you take is the right decision. Listen to that voice, because deep down, you always know. And then number 3, which is for me the most beautiful, beautiful thing, is to plan a soul date. Yes, you heard it right. Soul date. What is a soul date? Well, a soul date is a date where you take one day, a day where you plan nothing. Okay, it needs to be a free day. You have nothing planned. And the night before, you tell yourself, you know what? Tomorrow when I wake up, I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes to anything that comes in my head. So if you wake up and a voice inside of you is saying, you know what? You should run to the forest, take off your clothes, and dance naked around a tree. You do it. You do it, okay? I'm telling you, take a soul date, listen to your intuition, have no plans, and see where it guides you. I promise you, I've been to one of the most amazing experiences and places by just listening and trusting my intuition. I hope all of this was a little helpful. I hope you feel inspired to get to know places from yourself that you maybe kind of longed for but did not know about. I wish that you can see all the magic that I see around and within. And please feel free to ask any questions, send me a message. I would love to hear about your experience. I would love to hear about your rituals, things that suit you. And if you know somebody that could benefit from this podcast, please feel free to share. I think the more people it reaches, the more benefit for all of us. Because all of this is really actions of self-love, and you cannot give anybody as much love as you first love yourself. So you're doing this for yourself, but in some way, you're also doing this for all of us as a whole. From my heart to yours. Namaste.